So I had the pleasure of doing this. I worked with a very select committee of individuals from ASTDA that included David Martin, Laura Bachman, Khalil Ghanin, Rebecca Brotman, and myself. All of these are individuals who are members of the ASTDA Executive Committee or prior recipients of one of these awards or both. So this was a group of people that worked hard on a variety of excellent nominations and came to a consensus on this selection. So the first award presentations for the Young Investigator Award, Dr. Robert Kircaldy, and he will be introduced by Ned Hook. Ned, please come.
Thanks, Dennis and Case, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. This is always an exciting time for our association and for our community because we have the opportunity to recognize some of our peers in different stages of their own careers. So it's my pleasure to introduce the recipient of the Young Investigator Award, and that person is Dr. Bob Kircaldy, who is shown here in a picture in uniform, right? Because he's a member of the Commission Corps. I salute you, Bob. I'm not sure his daughter, who is now 10 years old, named Sophia, necessarily salutes him all the time. He tells me that she started rolling his eyes when he says stuff. But let me tell you a little bit about Bob. First of all, Bob he got his BS in Pennsylvania at Bucknell University. He then went south for medical school, where he went to Tulane, where he was both a medical student and subsequently went into residency, where he did a combined internal medicine psychiatry residency. It'd be interesting to think about and hear his reflections about how his psychiatric training has helped him in dealing with some of the members of us that he has to deal with regularly through his new responsibilities at CDC. We might have to give him a drink to really hear the truth about that. After his residency, however, Bob then moved to Maryland, and in Maryland he joined a private practice group where he worked as both an internist and a psychiatrist in the Rockville area, and in his spare time he went north to Baltimore to Johns Hopkins, where he got his MPH. Somewhere along that line, he felt the call of public health. And so in 2008, Bob joined the Commission Corps of the Centers for Disease Control, first as an EIS officer, which he was in for 2 years, and then joining the regular staff in the Division of STD Prevention, where for the last 5 plus years, Bob has really been the go-to guy for gonorrhea, gonococcal surveillance, and the like at CDC. He's overseen the gonococcal isolate surveillance project, which is arguably one of our nation's best, foremost, and most effective surveillance projects, which has had real tremendous effect, most recently noted in our STD treatment guidelines. He's guided research studies, including the study that identified combinations of either gemifloxacin or gentamicin plus azithromycin as salvage therapy for patients with gonorrhea. He's written over 20 papers. He's written numerous articles in Morbidity and Mortality weekly reports. He's also had time or been assigned, I'm not sure which it is, to do additional appointments related to issues related to pandemic flu, Ebola virus, and the like. And somehow with all of that, Bob also has had the time to work with his family, his wife Ellen, his daughter Sophia, who I just mentioned, and managed to sort of demonstrate for us the issues that relate to work-life balance. Although I can tell you, I've received emails from him on Sunday mornings. So how he does it all, it remains hard to say. At any rate, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Bob Kircaldy, the 2015 recipient of the ASTDA's Young Investigator Award. Please join me.
put it here for now? I may fall over holding it. So thank you, Ned, for those lovely comments. I thought they were going to be more embarrassing. You did a very nice job. And thank you to the STDA for this lovely award. And so it's actually nice to still feel young, the Young Investigator. That's one of the perks, I guess, of the award. And as Dr. Hook mentioned, I do have a background in psychiatry, and he's mentioned that maybe one of my tasks should be trying to outthink the bug. We haven't had a whole lot of success trying to outtreat gonorrhea. So I am humbled by this award, I'm honored, but I want to also say that I feel like I'm accepting it on behalf of the colleagues and collaborators that I've had the pleasure to work with over the last 5 years. And that includes the wonderful GISP collaborators like Dr. Hook, Dr. Holmes, Paula Dixon, who's here, and they've been fantastic to work with, those who are worked in the clinical trial, and then, of course, all of those at CDC who make coming to work fun, even despite some of the challenges of the bureaucracy. But of course, Gail Bolin and Sevgi Aral, our colleagues in the laboratory that I'm able to forge great relationships with, and then including David Trees and John Papp. And of course, the surveillance team, where I've been ensconced for the last 7 years now since EIS and continued on, who are just wonderful, thoughtful, passionate people who I've loved working with. And I most also want to thank Lizzie Tironi, who I believe is here and is now our team lead. I've had the pleasure of working with her for several years, and Hillard Weinstock back in Atlanta, who has been a mentor and supervisor for the last several years as well. And of course, those who I've worked with in other capacities in the larger group, but have also served as mentors and provided thoughtful guidance along the way. So thank you all so much. Thank you to STDA, and have a good meal.